समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
If DK Singh and I are sitting together, you know that we are talking about politics. In this case, Maharashtra politics. In Maharashtra politics also, specifically about the Thackeray family, or let me say Thackeray dynasty. As we just saw, and that's been some kind of a headline, political headline, in a period when it's very difficult for anything political to make it to our headlines, because there is so much happening all over the world. There are wars, there are summits, all kinds of things are happening. Within that, if something makes the headline, it has to be of the scale of Uddhav Thackeray, Balasaheb Thackeray's son, and Raj Thackeray, Balasaheb Thackeray's nephew, favorite nephew, a nephew as favorite as his son, but who had got estranged because he was upset that Balasaheb preferred the son over him. These two came together on the stage. What does it mean for Maharashtra politics? We'll just talk about that with DK, and also talk about this fascinating dynasty in Indian politics. Remember, there is one rule of dynasties. Dynasties anywhere. Dynasties in politics, dynasties in corporate life, dynasties even among spiritual teachers or godmen, etc. That by the third generation, it's a proven law. By the third generation, there are exceptions, so I'm not saying there are no exceptions. By the third generation, in most cases, one third, the dynasty's power is reduced to one third of what it was in the founders' era. So think of the Congress party's power under Nehru, then Indira Gandhi, then Rajiv Gandhi, and then Sonia and Rahul. So that is how this power dilutes with subsequent dynasties. It happens in politics, it happens in corporate world, it happens with people who have wealth. Most dynasties see declining wealth through generations. In Maharashtra also, we have seen now that Thackeray dynasty's political power has been taken away. Even the party's symbol, the party itself has been taken away by Eknath Shinde. It's in that situation that Balasaheb's favorite nephew and his favorite son, the favorite of favorites, they have now come together because both have their backs to the wall. That said, DK, how significant is this event now?
Well, let's see, because as we were discussing earlier, Raj Thackeray is spent force. I mean, when he founded MNS in the first election he fought, that was in 2009 Assembly election. Then he won 13 seats and close to 6% votes. After that, last three Assembly election, in 2014 he got 1 seat. In 2019 he got 1 seat. In 2024, 0 seat with barely, I think, 1.7578% votes. He did damage the Sena UBT candidates in 2 constituencies, and in fact Shinde's candidates in 7 constituencies. But that's about it.
Yeah.
So he's totally irrelevant today.
But he has a spoiler value.
Yes, he does have.
So what is Uddhav Thackeray trying to get from him?
We don't know. Right now, everybody is talking about the reunion. But if you look at how they spoke about in that Saturday's rally also, Uddhav Thackeray looks very enthusiastic. So, and I read here, now Uddhav, as reported by Purva, now Uddhav Thackeray is saying that, when it comes to language, Raj and I are together. We will stay together and throw others out. When it comes to Raj, he says, I don't know what will happen later, but whatever is the dream of Balasaheb Thackeray on Marathi, we will fulfill it. So, he is not even committing himself so far. And as we have seen in the last assembly election, he had in fact backed some, although he was contesting, the MNS went alone.
by itself.
But then some Shiv Sena and BJP candidates were supported by
Raj Thackeray.
by MNS. And in the Lok Sabha election also, Raj Thackeray had offered unconditional support to the NDA. So while they are coming together, we don't know which way Raj will flip, because BMC election will be towards the end of the year in December or May, January.
BMC's big deal. BMC's last budget was, hold your breath, 74,000 crores. So one city municipal corporation's budget was bigger than the budget of many states in the country. And that's where a lot of largesse also is available. And if this largesse was not sleeping out, then Bombay's roads will not have so many potholes, because every pothole in Bombay's road reminds you of the amount of money there is to be made from BMC's budgets and BMC's operations. Unfortunately, it's a very lucrative place of power.
And that's probably the reason they are trying to come together, and they will come together. But if you look at this entire Marathi language issue, the effectiveness. So there's this interesting data point I was looking at. Now I'm taking it from 2011 census, because after that we haven't had one. So this census is on the speakers, language speakers in Mumbai. So when it comes to the Mumbai residents who said Hindi was their mother tongue, now from 2001 to 2011, their number went up from 25.88 lakhs, close to 26 lakhs, to 36 lakhs between these 10 years. And those who said Marathi was their mother tongue, their number in fact went down a little from 45.23 lakhs to 44.04 lakhs. So the number in fact went down very slightly.
And remember, Mumbai has a lot of Gujarati speakers as well. Mumbai is a cosmopolitan city, but the three large language groups are Marathis, about 45 lakhs, as DK said. Then I suspect Gujaratis, and then Hindi speakers or thereabouts.
And there's hardly a difference. In 2011, we are talking about 36 lakhs Hindi speakers. Speakers who say Hindi is their mother tongue, and 44 lakh people who... So not much of difference. That was in 2011. We don't know how things have changed more.
Yes, because more migrants have come into Mumbai since then. So this politics has its own use by date, which may be running out now. Now, DK, let's talk a little bit about the family tree, because we know that Balasaheb Thackeray himself was a cartoonist. Samna was his newspaper. He used to draw for that. But his father was also a cartoonist. So cartooning is also a dynastic thing. That also runs sort of genetically.
And one of Balasaheb's brothers also was a journalist. He was working in the Marathi magazine.
In a Marathi magazine. And Uddhav himself is a wildlife photographer. In fact, if you see his stuff, the stuff he's done, he's a pretty good wildlife photographer. And I don't think they can call and tell tigers, hello, Balasaheb's son has come, right? Unka bhi the simple tiger tha Balasaheb ka. So Shiv Sena chief's son has come, so present yourself for pictures. Doesn't happen like that. So he has good wildlife pictures. Yes. In fact, I've also seen a book. He gave me a copy of a book of his wildlife photographs. Now, so Prabodhankar had three sons: Balasaheb Thackeray, Shrikant, and Ramesh Thackeray, who was a journalist, but who's not been, and his family has not been seen in politics very much, and we don't know that much about him. His second son, besides Balasaheb Thackeray, Shrikant and Balasaheb Thackeray were married to sisters. Raj Thackeray is Shrikant's son. So Shrikant and Uddhav, in that sense, happen to be cousins twice over, because not only are their fathers siblings, but their mothers are also siblings. So this is a double cousin situation. And I will take you back to that interview that I had with Balasaheb Thackeray, the two-part walk the talk. In that he said the only part where he got really emotional was when he talked about Raj Thackeray. I said, you chose one over the other. You favored one, obviously. He said both were the same. I used to treat them both like my sons, but then you see, situation came to this. And then talking about Raj Thackeray, he said, यही मेरी गोदी में मेरे कंधे पे सोता था और मेरी गोदी में पेशाब कर देता था. He used to pee in my lap. And when he said that, he actually got quite sentimental at that point. And yet, your direct child is always preferred over a nephew. And we've seen that play out elsewhere also. We've seen that play out in Tamil Nadu politics. We've seen that play out, say, in some ways in Congress politics as well.
So when we are talking about Balasaheb's affection for Raj, and when Raj left the home, he was saying that, I was expecting respect in Matoshri, but what I got was humiliation. And that was the reason.
That's what Raj said.
Yeah.
Raj said, because Balasaheb made that call. Now, Balasaheb's own children, his daughters we don't know very much about. Balasaheb had 8 children. But his sons, Bindu Madhav was a film producer. He made at least one significant Hindi film, that is Agni Sakshi, right? But he died in that very unfortunate accident when the car he was riding, an SUV, such as SUVs used to be those days, rolled off a bend in one of the ghat areas not far from Mumbai. And nobody quite figured out what happened. So Bindu Madhav Thackeray, who was called Binda Thackeray, died then. Then there is Jaidev, who's been estranged for a long time.
Yes.
And Smita Thackeray was his wife. Smita, who was seen in the film world also. She was socially active and a very prominent figure in Mumbai for a long time. And they also got estranged later.
Yeah, Jaidev had 3 wives actually. He had 3 wives. First was Jayashree. So when he separated from Jayashree, in fact, that's when Balasaheb started getting upset with him. He thought it gives a bad name to the family. Then he got married to Smita. And then when the separation was happening, that's when he left Matoshri. And then he married the 3rd time.
So Binda Thackeray's son, although not active in politics, but he was seen at Eknath Shinde's rally in 2022 in the VIP enclosure.
Yeah, so when there were these parallel rallies happening on Dasara day, Uddhav doing it in Shivaji Park.
As usual.
Yes, and Shinde organized in Banda Kurla Complex ground. In fact, it was to show who has inherited that legacy of Balasaheb Thackeray. To do that, Shinde got 3 members from the family, the others. One was Jaidev, who was sitting right next to him on the dais. Smita, Jaidev's estranged wife. And Nihar, that is Bindu Madhav's son. They were sitting in the VIP enclosure in the audience.
Yeah, so that is to say that we also have a part of the dynasty with us. That's the reason dynasties lose power generation to generation. As more children come in, everybody wants a share of the same power, isn't it? And as more grandchildren come in. Then we have Uddhav, the key figure, Uddhav and Rashmi, who's also a very powerful figure, power behind the throne. Throne of at least his Shiv Sena now, if not the government. And Uddhav's son Aditya, who's active in politics. He was a minister. And the other son, Tejas, what about him?
He's a wildlife enthusiast. In fact.
He's not in politics. And Raj Thackeray, on the other hand, he's got 2 children, Urvashi and Amit. Amit contested. DK will tell us more about that.
Amit contested from Mahim. That's where Raj Thackeray stays. Assembly constituency.
Yeah.
And he lost. He came 3rd, in fact.
Yeah. In fact, I did spend quite a bit of time with Raj Thackeray during the 2014 election. I was writing my writings on the wall. But once we finish this conversation, I will also give you a short impression of my several hours spent with Raj Thackeray that afternoon. It was quite fascinating because he is one of a kind. He is somebody who's built his politics not so much on popular support, not so much on vote power, but on simple shock and awe, right? It's like going and slapping people or going and throwing stuff at people's shops because they don't have Marathi signboards. It's just that everybody is afraid of him. And that's the reason I say his strength is shock and awe, isn't it?
Yes. So we have heard him. I mean, he's not just justifying slapping by one of the MNS workers of somebody who was not speaking Marathi. He's saying slap but don't make videos. I mean, he's pretty brazen about this.
Yeah, that's the shock and awe element in him. So what happens now with the Thackeray dynasty? And what impact does it have on Maharashtra politics?
We don't know. I mean, because this reunion, as I said, it's right now, whether it will finally lead to a political understanding, the 2 brothers coming together, we don't know. Because as I mentioned, Raj has been working very closely with the BJP. first move, of course, he's trying to prove his political relevance also. But BMC election will be in December or January probably. We have to see whether these two cousins are able to forget their past and, launch themselves yet again.
But DK, you watched politics very closely for such a long time. When a dynasty reaches this stage, do you see the possibility of it being able to recover its lost ground? Or do you think it's a slippery slope from which you can't either reverse or start running backwards and climb back up again?
It's very difficult. We have seen, now in this case, we saw Uddhav and Aditya trying to give a moderate image to the Shiv Sena. And suddenly you see Uddhav trying to go back to this nativist philosophy. I mean, when he talks about Marathi language, this entire Marathi Manu thing is back on his agenda. And as we discussed, like Marathi language speakers, given the number you have in Mumbai, I mean, how much impact this alliance will have if at all this happens?
Because Mumbai is a much more cosmopolitan city than it used to be.
And then in Konkan also, Shiv Sena has completely lost. So it's an existential crisis he is staring at. Is Raj Thackeray good enough to let it kind of, to bring him back into the dominant position? It's very difficult to say. Raj Thackeray's own record is very dismal in that.
And also Raj Thackeray can change sides. Remember before 2019 elections, he was making those videos which the secular side and anti-Modi side celebrated, where he would go to a public meeting and gave a video presentation basically contradicting all of Narendra Modi's claims of success on the economy, foreign policy, etc. because he's quite a showman in his own right. So what Uddhav Thackeray has got now, if I may say so, is a showman. A showman also with decibel power and also some physical power, but not necessarily vote power.
As I said, in the last election, he got just 1.78% votes. His party got 1.78% votes. No seat. So there is no vote power as such. Of course, his nuisance value is there. He can field candidates in selected constituencies and hurt other parties. But that too is very limited. The fact is, you have the BJP-led government in Maharashtra and at the center. And Raj Thackeray has, if he has some ambitions, and BJP is in a much better position to satisfy him with whatever his wants are than Uddhav Thackeray today.
And yet, whatever is power, see how they've been able to force the BJP to reverse its three-language formula position. Because it's one thing for them to be opposed and for them to be blocked in Tamil Nadu. That's a rival state. In this case, they've had to pull back while it's their own state.
That's true. Somehow, Fadnavis did not handle it the way we would expect an efficient administrator like him to do. The first government resolution, where he is talking about making it Hindi the third language. Then he goes back, then he says, okay, so you can opt for any third language, any Indian language, but then at least 20 students from a grade, from 1st to 5th in fact, if 20 students from a grade ask for another Indian language, then they can be given a teacher, they can be online teaching. This confusion was something that these guys actually...
So this is the power of nuisance making, right? Yeah. It is a formidable power. At the same time, it doesn't mean that this dynasty is going to get back its preeminence in Maharashtra politics soon. And that is where our thesis rests, that most dynasties by the third generation lose about 2/3 of their power, or 2/3, in this case, 2/3 of their political clout, or maybe the vote share as well, maybe not 2/3, but a sizable amount. That's where we stand now. However, a new game has opened out in Maharashtra politics on the eve of the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation election. This is a very important election. It will be vital for Fadnavis government, for the BJP, and even more so for the Shiv Sena, now led by Eknath Shinde, who himself does not have the same clout that he had when he was chief minister, obviously.
We also have to watch the other MVA partners very closely, because in that so-called victory rally, none of the top Congress leaders went. Sharad Pawar himself did not go, although he did send Supriya Sule to attend it, and some other NCP leaders were there. But none of the top Congress leaders.
Because it will become tough for them, because Uddhav had controlled his In fact, Uddhav has not used anti-Muslim rhetoric at all.
No.
But how do you discipline Raj on things like that? And Raj's reputation precedes him.
So it could even be the beginning of the end of MVA if Uddhav goes the way he had started.
So
going,
see,
in fact.
that is the power of Raj Thackeray. And Raj Thackeray is the one we'll talk about now. So stay with me for just a few minutes. Exploring the city of Mumbai and searching for writings on the wall in the run-up to 2014 elections, I landed up in the home of Raj Thackeray. In this vast city ruled by helpless leaders, there is only one who's totally unabashedly can do. Can do, remember that expression the Americans use, can do. Raj Thakray's spirit is as unsettling as it is refreshing, and you can see why the faithful flock to him. In the 8 years since he left the extended Thackeray household, then remember DK Singh just told us that he left in 2007. Balasaheb's favorite nephew, Raj, 46 then, 57 now, has become the champion spoiler in Maharashtra politics and its most prolific headline hunter. That evidence we've seen over the last week with all the slappings and stuff. He was in 2014 contesting 10 seats, was not tipped to win even one, but that is his strength. He does not win, but usually takes away enough Marathi votes from BJP and Sena to make them lose, or at least to put them at discomfort, great discomfort. This time in 2014, he had made a strategic deal. He will not contest against the BJP, only against cousin Uddhav's Shiv Sena to make Modi ji Prime Minister, and opinion polls then predicted a Congress NCP rout in Maharashtra. I knew his uncle Balasaheb well, and he indulged me, always introducing me to others as the person who writes most delightfully among all the people who abuse me. Abuse as in Balasaheb Thackeray. So Balasaheb Thackeray said that I wrote most delightfully among all the journalists who abused him. In an interview for NDTV 24/7's Walk the Talk, he had become so heavily sentimental while talking of the split with Raj. He said, and it's from that interview, I will share a link to the interview with you with the description. He was my child too, used to always pee on my shoulder as a baby. तो ठीक तो कह रहे थे वो, मैं उनके बेटे जैसा ही था. Says Raj, as we settle down in what you might call his office cum study, although lining the walls are not books or files, but movie DVDs, Indian and foreign, JFK, Titanic, Best of Charlie Chaplin, you name it. His home, Krishna Kunj in a Dadar street, looks about as ordinary as a 300 square yard house in New Delhi's Jangpura, or maybe more like in the middle class Bengali enclave of Chitranjan Park. Raj is dressed in a blue and red tracksuit, and I ask him about his film obsession. He watches them all, he says. On his work desk, to the right of where he sits, is a large LCD TV, and he says he has another 3,000 titles in the closet under it. He doesn't collect just movies. I am intrigued by the number of perfume bottles on display on the large shelf in his bathroom. Scores and scores of them, the best brands, enough to fill a small duty-free shop's perfume section. You seem to really like perfumes, I say. But I use only one brand, Abercrombie and Fitch. He's very straightforward. The rest people come and bring along, so what do I do with them? I display them, he said. I raised Mumbai's space problem with him. In fact, I tell him that your city is a place where if you have a dog, the dog can't even wag its tail this way, left to right. The dog has to wag its tail vertically. He laughs a little bit, and then he says, what can anybody do if 48 trains arrive every day from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh with new migrants? You need to fix those states first, he says. But of all politicians who meet in Mumbai, he's also the most urbanized, most mayoral in his thinking. And I'm quoting again from him, you know, when my wife and I went to Switzerland, I asked her, what does the opposition do in this country? Everything is perfect there. So what does the opposition do in Switzerland? But of course, there were problems there that somebody going from a dysfunctional Indian city would not see. Similarly, he says, politicians from the hinterland come to Mumbai and say, wow, everything that doesn't work in my village is brilliant here. Power, roads, schools, hospitals. Where is the problem? A city has to be governed by city people, he said. Just as Switzerland can only be governed by the Swiss. Even Mumbai police is wonderful, but what do we expect when a bumpkin like R.R. Patil becomes Home Minister. R.R. Patil, by the way, was Home Minister when 26/11 happened. Lost his job shortly afterwards, is no more now, unfortunately. I now come back to Raj. Who do you think will be the ideal Home Minister of Maharashtra? I earnestly asked because he used the expression bumpkin for R.R. Patil. Who else? He answers equally sincerely. He was very serious. Raj Thackeray will make the best Home Minister for Maharashtra, he said. And then he added a qualification, but only when I am also the Chief Minister, or there is no point, he said. Like his uncle Balasaheb, he has built a nasty reputation that masks his multi-layered personality, and once you level with him, time spent with him can be as much fun as with his late uncle. Our conversation goes late into the afternoon over 2 bowls each of soaked chivada and sabudana khichdi, the Maharashtra snacks that in his home are real afterburners even for a die-hard mirchi enthusiast like me. And somehow we meander into talking about animals. That's when Raj perks up. One day, he says, one day I was on a road near Pune and I saw a man carry those beautiful murgas, that's roosters, in a cage. They were beautiful murgas. And I paused. These were all going to be sold, slaughtered and eaten. So I told my driver to stop and buy all of them. All 80 of them, he said. And where are they now? I asked him. What did you do with them? I asked, dreading that the answer would be the obvious one, on my dining table. Many on my farm at Karjat, the rest at my friends' farms. They are all fine, all 80 of them, he said. And this is from a man who usually has Mumbai quaking in fear. He also has 10 dogs in his little house, 3 pugs, 4 Great Danes, this is 2014, 3 pugs, 4 Great Danes, and 3 of the most adorable mongrels. He ruffles the fur of one as he sees me off, smug in his electoral defeat but strategic victory. He was then delivering Maharashtra, even Mumbai, to Modi ji. It just so happens that now he has plonked himself on the other side.